Hey everybody, Dr. Adam Chrisman here, Chief Veterinary Officer here at DVM 360 and Fetch. And with me today is a good friend of mine too, Pasquale Bondi. Thank you so much for joining us. U.S. Commercial Lead for U.S. Veterinary Channel with Shore Pet Care. So thanks so much for tuning in with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure and honor to be on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. And you know, this is a good conversation that we're going to talk about that many of you out there probably may or may not know about, but with some changes in technology that's happening in the veterinary industry. So in general, Pasquale, like what are some things that you're seeing? I know COVID is here, but what are some of the things that we're seeing with both the veterinary side as well as the pet parent experience with some technology changes that are happening?
Yeah, great question. So coincidentally or not, there have been a lot of advances in technology. And then pre and post COVID, I would say there's even a heightened sense of the importance of the technology and more of a demand for it now, such as connected devices for pets, integrated ecosystems to provide more information to both pet owners and veterinarians. There's a lot of use in a lot of two-way messaging now for hospitals. So the unfortunate event of COVID has kind of accelerated the need, the want, and the importance around the technology space for sure.
You're right, because a lot of us are home and we're staring at our animals.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do know a lot about the two-way messaging. We know about the importance of having that with curbside concierge pickups and drop-offs for their animals. But what we don't know, and those of you that may not know, is you were just talking about ecosystem technology with some of the pets that are out there. So expand a little bit more on that.
Yep. So I'll keep it fairly broad, but in the ecosystems that everyone, or I shouldn't say everyone, I take that back, a few organizations and a lot of veterinarians are really looking into that broad term of ecosystem is essentially any touch point that a pet owner has with a veterinarian, with an online store, something that they purchase through, a behavior, disease management, where's my local dog park, right? Any of these ecosystems, they all are essentially right now independent. But when they can be connected, there's a better, closer connection to the pet, closer connection to the pet owner. And therefore, ultimately, at the end, what we can hope or what we strive to see at the end goal is better health for pets, more efficient practices for veterinarians, and obviously, which we also want to, that comes along with that as a great positive side effect, is better business outcomes as well too.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example too, just from being a veterinarian, and I hear this often. Let's just use a cat parent, for instance. You know, sometimes there's multi-cat that are in the house. It's like 3 cats, let's just say. And it's always hard sometimes for that cat parent to say, I can't tell which one is going in and out of the litter box. Or I think one is off. It's hard to tell, but I'm not sure. Is there anything that's out there that can help recognize that for cat parents?
Yep, that's a great question. So there are a few devices that I'm aware of from the litter box perspective, right, that even have the capabilities of telling you different volumes, right? Are they doing number 1 or number 2? How often are they doing it? How much is the volume in there? So a lot of analysis and metrics on that. There are also outside the box uses, if you will. For example, we have the Shore Flap. Right? It's a connected device that essentially allows entrance and exit into a home for a certain pet. But when there are, let's call it litter box issues or multiple cat households where one doesn't appreciate the other one using its litter box, these devices can be put into a separate room in the home where only the cat that's microchip scanned into it can enter or exit through that. Wow. And use its own litter box, its own feeding devices and what have you in that room. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I know, for instance, there's the Home Again microchip that we use for dogs and cats that now can even take temperatures and, you know, do those kinds of devices, which is amazing too. So you don't have to have a really crummy experience from a pet parent's perspective, you know. There's instances that I hear too when dogs are going to get boarded. And, you know, they get a report card and they say, you know, how was their experience today? And they say, oh, you know, she was really good. She behaved really well. But then you take your dog home and you realize like they're exhausted. I wonder, like, I'm sure that there's some sort of a device that can actually explain how their day was. Is there something like that that's out there?
Yep. Absolutely. There's a few out on the marketplace right now. They're wearable devices for dogs, and essentially they have to be viewed as is not just a tchotchke or a Fitbit for dogs. They provide a much more detailed view of really what's going on in that pet's life or the time as it's wearing it. It is picking up and sensing things such as scratching, shaking, barking, sleep scores, the activity, right? High intensity, low intensity, and to the common observer, you're like, oh, those things are great, right? It's good to know that. And for most part, most pet owners, we hope that their pets are healthy and everything is in line. But as you had mentioned, when a pet goes to the groomer or to daycare, right, where it gets boarded, for example, we use our one on our dog, and he's a 70-pound, 14-year-old pit bull. And he may or may not be mouthy from time to time. And we love the boarding place that we take him to. They're awesome. They've been seeing him for years. And we pick him up. He comes home. He crashes. He's lethargic. His voice is really hoarse. He doesn't want to play with the Chihuahua, who's his best friend. So what we had found out when we pick him up, they say, he's his normal chatty self. And to their defense, most dogs are chatty, right? When they're in the kennel setting, they're around strange dogs, other dogs, different staff members. And what it turns out is what we determined from the device was that he was barking on average for 4 consecutive hours a day.
Oh.
So that insight gave us like, whoa, we're just going to send him with some more medicine when he goes to help him cope while he's there. And after doing that, the pre and post, he's sleeping through the night while he's there. He comes home, he has more energy, and he's not barking his brains out. So just that little tiny device gave us that insight onto what was going on with him. So great question, because it's really the insights that it gives when you're not there, right? When you're not home or you're not with the pet.
Exactly right. And it's those kinds of insights that really help us as veterinarians make a better treatment plan collaboratively with the pet parents. And so,
Exactly.
and we never had these kinds of devices before. So it makes us practice even better medicine than we did before.
Correct.
I think of another instance too that's popular is these feeding regimens too, because some owners don't know how much to feed, or they're overfeeding if they have more than one dog or more than one cat. Are there things out there that
or a kid,
right?
And toddlers in the house,
right?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And to circle back a little bit with you, just mentioned that level of connection with the pet owner and the pet, and ultimately the pet and the veterinarian, because it does answer a lot of questions. A lot of times when historically, myself included, would go to visit the veterinarian, they would ask me, how long has your pet been behaving this way? I really don't know, right? The past couple days. Or are you sure that this specific diet that this cat or this small dog or this dog is supposed to be getting, are they eating that? I think so, right? So now these devices can actually map that out and show for you and give you that level of accountability and peace of mind too, that
Right.
What you're looking for, the behaviors, is actually being tracked. And the feeders, I love all the products in this technology segment, from the smart litter boxes all the way through to the wearable devices, activity trackers. And my favorite one is actually the feeders, because I feel that the feeders, they fix a problem that multiple pet owners, multiple pet households, or especially multiple cat households have, and that is food thieving. You may have an overweight Garfield cat, and then you may have a very thin olive oil looking cat, right? So what's going on there? Someone's clearly stealing someone's food, right? So this fixes that problem. Then if there is a pet that's on a specific diet that you need to make sure that only that pet's eating, A, because it needs to eat it, or B, you can't afford to feed every cat that expensive diet or pet in the household. So it provides you that peace of mind as well too. So it can also assist in disease management, right? It could hypothetically assist in diabetic disease management, in diet control, weight control. So the feeders to me they're my favorite one. They're easy, they're plug and play, and they fix a problem that we see quite often.
Yeah, I mean, nutrition is huge too, and that's what I get that asked all the time as a veterinarian. How much do I feed? And I have multiple cats, and how do I do control feedings? And having these kinds of applications just I'm all about the human-animal bond. I think we all are, but
Yep.
veterinarians, if we try to find devices and technology that just keeps it that much stronger or even elevates it, and I call it a home run. So these are great devices and some products that are out there. So thank you so much for sharing that. Where can some veterinarians get some further information on that?
Yeah, so either shorepetcare.com or they can reach out to their local Merck Animal Health representatives. They're equipped with all the product information, and the website has a lot of testimonials and videos as well on there to help with the information on the products.
Excellent. Pasquale Bondi, always a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
My pleasure.
As always.
Yes, stay safe, everybody. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week, too, well, for my next guest here at Fetch TVM 360. Take care of your fur babies.